start with the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, can you join us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
All right. I haven't had a full house like this in a while. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so we're going to start off with the minutes from the December 20th meeting. Did everyone get a chance to take a look at them?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, comments, corrections?
I need that too.
Thank you. Okay, hearing none, the minutes are accepted as written. Thank you. Okay. Okay, the first item, not to be heard, to act upon, but there's email from the Jennings Beach neighbors regarding a gate to be installed at Jennings. Anthony, were you going to discuss this?
Yeah, I could discuss
at a later point?
Well, I could discuss it now, just giving an update on where we are. So we received a petition from the Jennings Beach neighborhood with support from the new administration and the police department requesting that we install a gate at the Jennings Beach parking lot, the entrance. So with that, we had a vendor come out, same one that did the Lake Mohegan gate for us. They quoted us about $26,000 to put an electronic gate there. It would have automated times. We'd be able to adjust those times based on sunset and all that. Further down on the agenda, we're going to be talking about adjusting the beach hours to coincide with that those gates. So I'll get to that, during that item. But this was again at the request of the administration and the police department in order to try to deter loitering and activity we just don't want down at the beach after hours. Where the funding's coming from, I'm not 100% sure yet, but the administration will figure that out, whether that's excess ARPA funds or it ends up becoming a budgeted line item or surplus. They'll allocate the funding appropriately.
It's not on the agenda unless anyone wants to make a motion to put it on the agenda tonight, but I think we probably should get a little more information and wait see if we agree to adjust the hours. But prior to the adjustment of the hours, it was proposed, right now the park is open until 11 o'clock.
Yep.
As we all know, nothing good happens at places like Jennings Beach parking lot after 11 o'clock, or if we decide 8 o'clock during the off season. Nothing really good happens there after those late hours. So I think it's a good idea, and when it goes to the agenda, maybe next month, I'm definitely going to be supporting it.
Perfect.
Ken?
One question. I know that now it's been reported to me that when people are on the beach at that hour at 11, there's someone walking around saying...
Only during the beach season.
All right, so that's during the beach season. So if this is an automated gate, does that mean that goes away, which means cars could get stuck inside?
No, so it would be the same as the lake. If your car's inside, there's an exit. When you pull up to the gate, it automatically opens.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a matter of time before teenagers figure that out and figure out how to get inside without the gate. This is obviously not going to solve all our beach issues, but hopefully will deter them. And it has worked. We've had it about a year now up at Lake Mohegan, and it has worked on the north side of the lake, the Cascade area. So calls have definitely gone down.
And one other email, Kelly, I'm not sure.
No, I'm sorry, that was last month.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if
that
was meant to, that'll go.
Mm-hmm.
There's an email in there about the menorah on the town hall and Sherman Green that will be on the agenda at some point between now and next winter. Okay, so then first up on new business to hear and act upon is request from Nick Asa, all right, on behalf of Riverfields PTA to hold the annual carnival at Jennings Beach, May 17th through 19th, replacing the Wood Family's annual carnival. Nick, if you would, and this for everyone, as you begin to speak, if you would, please give your name and address for the record.
My name is Nick Asa. I live at 253 Ruane Street. I'm here as a representative, as a co-chair of the carnival for the Riverfield School PTA. As many of you know, that carnival has been going on for decades at the school. It's a long-standing tradition. We, last year, in consultation with our vendor, Northeast Amusements, who is also Holy Family's former vendor, Holy Family was not going to have their carnival last year, so we talked to them, and they had worked out a thing where they were going to give us the opportunity to use their spot, if the commission so granted, but then they had said that they wanted it the next year. So as a committee and a PTA, we said, well, we're not going to do that because we don't want to do it and it'd be great and then not be able to go back the next year. So in talking with them, it sounds like they're no longer going to be able to host their carnival as they have in the past based on lack of parishioner volunteerism and just the ability to have the number of volunteers. So our vendor had asked us if we were willing to move our carnival in order to obviously increase revenue for them as well, which would then also increase the fundraising for the PTA, which helps fund the operating budget for the year. I will say that I'm here tonight as a co-chair. It's a bit of a chicken and the egg situation because we are reserved at Riverfield and we don't know if this is an option. So I'm here to the commission tonight to know if you would grant the opportunity for us to move the weekend of the date stated and have that happen. If so granted, my plan is not to make this decision, myself and the co-chair, and have this all on us. The PTA Executive Board will be given the information, the outcome of tonight, and we would make a decision in the next week or so as to if you grant us the permission to move, are we going to go ahead and move it, or are we going to try and stay there and hope that the vendor sticks with us? I will tell you that we've done a couple surveys of parents and staff, and we've gotten, it's about a 50-50 split on what people want to do. There are benefits of moving it to Jennings Beach, multiple benefits. One, it would no longer take the field out of use for a full week, which the Little League has, strenuously objected over the years but dealt with. It's also a distraction for the teachers, when the equipment is in the field all week. Recess is impeded because the kids can't use the field. Parking and traffic for the neighborhood on Lakeside and Mill Plain Road, it becomes very difficult for the homeowners and residents in that area. So all of this was taken into consideration, and the committee's recommendation is that we move to Jennings Beach if so granted. Again, the outcome of tonight will determine what happens there. If we are granted permission from you, again, this will all go back along with the survey results and all the feedback from the vendor and any feedback from you guys to the PTA Executive Board, who will help our committee make the ultimate decision, at which point we would notify the Parks and Rec and the Commission which direction we're going, if both are an option.
A couple things, but quick sidebar. Did we start the recording?
Yes.
Is Dylan on?
Yes.
Okay.
And thank you for the opportunity, of course. I apologize for saying to be in front of you tonight.
If it's approved tonight, I know you said within the next week or so, but with 100%, we need to know your commitment one way or the other by the time this commission meets next month.
Yeah, and that's why I
Because
said,
if we block off that time, we're going to be telling other people who may want to do something at Jennings that it's booked. So
that was the premise of my statement of about a week or so, because in all fairness to the commission, of course, you wouldn't want to wait until the next meeting to be able to tell prospective people if they want to bring it forward on an agenda. But we're in full
we're all
agreement on
human.
that.
Sometimes that week becomes 3. So
Yeah,
I'm
no.
just,
I can tell you, I need a decision because I can't do this anymore.
So Anthony, how many in 2024, how many events such as this do we have scheduled, Janet? Carnival?
There's a
big-
carnival in April, and then there would be this carnival in May.
So only the two?
Yes. It would be McKinley and now Riverfield.
Any questions?
Yes. Has there been any charity events or anything broached on that weekend?
No.
None at the beach? No? Okay.
Dylan, anything?
No questions from me.
All right, well, pretty straightforward. We get the request for the carnivals every year, because as you know, it doesn't fall under the director's purview to, even if you've had it for 15 years, so.
And if you may, I just wanted to say one thing. We are cognizant of and aware of some of the complaints that have been, received from residents in the area over the years, especially, with the Holy Family. It's been a long-standing partner. So we obviously, while we can't control everything, we are obviously prepared to work within whatever the hours and everything the commission sets forward and the rules, and complying with that, and knowing that at a certain time you have to be shut down. So I've already spoken to the vendor, knowing that beforehand they need to shut generators down before that time, so that noise is mitigated and everything.
And you can coordinate all that with the office, with Kelly, and, how quickly you have to get out of there, when you can set up, when you have to shut the generators and everything else off. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Jamie, second. Okay, any further questions, discussion from the commission? Anything from the public? Hearing none, back to the commission. All those in favor? Dylan?
Yes.
Okay. You all set? Please let us know as soon as you possibly can.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next up, Chris Zuniga, HR coordinator, and Mike Pritting, VP of HR, representing Bill O.T., hold their company picnic at Beck Park on Thursday, June 13th, 2024, rain date the 27th, 12 to 4 p.m. And also requesting the reserve the tennis courts and the field area for activities.
They're on the phone.
Okay. Chris or Mike?
Yes, Mike Pruding is here.
Okay, Mike, if you would, just give us your address for the record.
My home address?
That works.
Work address 201 Black Rock Turnpike, Fairfield, Connecticut.
Not exactly what I said, but that's fine. All right, Mike, just tell us a little bit about the request.
So for the last several years, we have had our picnic there at Veterans Park. It's worked out well. We only do it on a Thursday because we shut our production down for that Thursday so everyone can participate. The date would request June 13th with a rain date of June 27th in the next 2 weeks later. We do ask that we reserve the fields because we do have softball and tennis that happens during that time. And it's a great venue and our employees love it. So.
I assume no conflict on the date? Yep. And so, Mike, this is something you said you've been having for years?
Yeah, I think we've been there. I've been there for 3 years now, and we've had it all 3 years. The past 3 years, it may go back 4 to 6 years. I'm not sure.
Okay. 3, so this is the third year, Anthony?
It's more than that, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, this might be 4th or 5th, but this is like 500 people. This is not a small event by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay.
It's probably about 200.
No, they bring in tents and grills, and this is a large-scale event.
Okay.
But there's never been any issues.
All right, which is the reason I looked at you and asked how many years. All right, so that's the reason it doesn't fall under the directors.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't remember ever talking about this.
They come before us every year.
Yeah, I don't remember like 2 last
Bill?
year.
So this doesn't affect softball for Thursday night there then?
Nope.
I sent everyone down.
Any other questions? Mike, food, drinks, tennis, softball, food truck, no alcohol, right?
No alcohol, correct.
Okay, just a lot of tea. All right, any other questions? Dylan, any questions?
One question, have we gotten any complaints or anything from the neighbors in terms of, if it's a 200 to 500 person event, I would imagine that parking is pretty tight.
Nope, we haven't received any complaints.
Okay.
Thursday afternoon, so it's nothing overnight. Okay, anyone care to make a motion?
Make a motion.
Bill?
I'll second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Anything from the public? Dylan, anything else?
I'm good on my end, Brian.
Okay, back to the commission. All those in favor? Jamie, that's yes?
Yep.
Dylan?
Yes.
Okay. Mike, you're all set. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.
All right. Okay, now we have Anthony, update the beach hours in rules and regulations.
Yep, so current language in our rules and regs, section 1, all beaches shall be open year-round from dawn to 11 p.m. or such later time as specifically approved by the Parks and Recreation Commission. Looking to change that language to all beaches shall remain open April 1st through September 30th from dawn to 11 p.m. and dawn to 8 p.m. October 1st through March 31st, or such later times as specifically approved by the Parks and Recreation Commission. So it adds that shoulder season to 8 p.m. really when we're in the off-season, October through March 31st. So, again, I think to Brian's point before, if the sun's going down at 5 o'clock, there's not much going down. There's no reason for anybody to be on the beach at 8 p.m. Or 9 p.m. or 10, for that matter.
Have we, between March 1st, October 1st and March 31st, have we had any events at, that took place?
No, not in the evenings, and this coincides with our bonfire schedule as well. So it doesn't affect the bonfires. Because those would really be the only scheduled evening events on Jennings Beach.
And they don't affect the bonfires because the bonfire season is over?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Dylan, anything?
No questions for me, Brian.
Okay. Then someone want to make a motion?
Yeah. We don't have a motion yet, so no.
We don't have a motion. Jamie? Yeah?
I'll second.
Second?
Yeah.
Any further discussion from the commission? Anything from the public? Someone wants to talk. Okay.
Ian Bass, 495 Valley Boulevard. Nice to see you all again. It's been several years. And that's a good thing. I'm also president of the Fair Acres Association, which encompasses approximately 400 homes immediately surrounding the pavilion area and to the east and west up to Old Post Road. We all have on our deed, if you check in Town Hall, we have deeded beach access rights. So we pay a little bit more to live down at the beach, but that's why we moved there. First of all, I want to thank Parks and Recreation Director Anthony Calabrese and also Chief of Police Bob Calmaris for their help throughout the years in helping us any way that they can, within reason, to try and control the noise and the overcrowding at the beach and the events that go on at night, not including the scheduled events, but the events that I'm referring to most likely are what you would refer to as the kids or whatever happens, to your point, Brian, anything after 11 or anything after 12 is not good. Penfield is a different situation. It's not as easy to control, as we all know, because there a half a mile stretch of easy access. So we're really concerned because Penfield has some of the same problems that Jennings had in terms of kids hanging out at night and making noise. And unfortunately, Penfield is very different in another respect. Penfield's right smack in the middle of a residential neighborhood, whereas Jennings has a buffer between the beach and the parking lot and the neighborhood. So unfortunately, those of us who live down there, the pavilions, have had our standard of living compromised. And it's been compromised by the hours that the scheduled events are held at the pavilions, which we've come before this committee before and after, reopened the whole story, where we repeatedly asked for events to end at the pavilions at 10 o'clock instead of 11 o'clock, because whatever the scheduled time is, they never end at that time. And even if they do end on time, the cleanup crews always are there for an hour or more, dragging garbage cans through the parking lot, and unfortunately, keeping us awake till midnight or 1 in the morning, as I'm sure Anthony will attest to the fact that I've sent him pictures and emails at 1 o'clock and 1:30 in the morning of those things happening. So I think what we're asking is very reasonable, and I think the requests that we've made of this committee are very reasonable. And unfortunately, neighbors are losing faith in the committee's decisions, and it's affecting our standard of living. And unfortunately for me, and probably for you all as well, I'm the one that gets elected to come before this commission and represent what's going on in the neighborhood. So we applaud you for taking the action to reduce the hours at Jennings. We ask that you consider something for Penfield that will have an impact that will help our lifestyle and our quality of life. And we ask that parties end at 10 o'clock instead of 11 o'clock. And this seems like the perfect year to enact that for next year, because hopefully by next year, Penfield will be open again. You'll be able to book parties. We understand that you can't change the time parties end at Durrell this summer because people have already booked the parties, and they understand they can go until 11 o'clock. There is a problem that the police can't enforce because Penfield is such a wide area. The police who are on duty at Penfield leave at approximately 10 o'clock every night, and then they wind up coming back again, which means if they come back again, it means because one of the neighbors called them, which means the neighbors were awakened by the noise on the beach. So with all due respect, we ask that this commission reconsider the hours that the pavilion parties last, and we ask that this commission also reconsider the 11 o'clock time frame for activity on the beach, and specifically the beach parking lot, to be cut back to 10 o'clock also. The last thing that I want to share with you is I personally got involved at the request of some of our members, and over the last few days, I've contacted the Parks and Recreation Departments and the police departments of Westport, Darien, Stratford, Milford, and Norwalk. Westport, and I have pictures, I sent Anthony some, Westport posts all their beach parking lots. They close at 10 o'clock. Darien, same thing, 10 o'clock. Stratford closes 10 o'clock. Milford closes 10 o'clock. Norwalk closes at 9 o'clock. So with all due respect, we think that we're not asking too much to ask this commission to consider a 10 o'clock closing time versus the 11 o'clock during peak season. The committees in these other towns are showing a great deal of respect for the residents who live around beach areas. All we ask is the same thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will not be discussing that this evening, of course, but we do have a rules subcommittee, and everything in our complete set of rules is always up for discussion amongst the committee. So,
Yeah, we'll bring that up at the next meeting.
yeah, I'm certain it will be discussed. Yeah. Back to the commission. We have a motion and a second to change the hours from close at 11 p.m. to 8 p.m. between October 1st and March 31st. All those in favor? Dylan?
Yes.
Okay. All right, you're all set.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, request from Mary Jo Gordon on behalf of the North Green Breast Center to hold the 2024 Pink Pledge campaign as held in the past.
Unless Mary Jo is on the phone, I'm going to handle this one for them. I don't think they were able to make it. So, again, this is another one of these community events that takes place on the Sherman Green. They're looking to kick off their Pink Pledge at the Sherman Green on September 27th from noon to 9 p.m. They get approximately 300 to 500 people that attend. Live band, food trucks. They've done this for several years, but because it's such a large-scale thing in the middle of the Sherman Green, I asked them to come before you guys each year for this. We don't typically have any issues or complaints. They've always abided by any rules that we've asked them to as far as certificate of insurance and their hold harmless. They comply with all that stuff for us, so I have no issue.
In the past, have we allowed the banners and events for that amount of time?
Yep, it's always typically the full month of October, and it goes up about that last week of September.
And the pink lights installed on the trees, gazebo, et cetera, on Sherman Green.
Yep, they go up and down the entire post road.
Okay.
They do all the globes there.
I'm just most concerned about Sherman Green.
Mm-hmm.
Do we allow signage to stay at the?
No, there's no signage. They do the ban. They don't do it on the gazebo, but it does go on the banner.
The street side one?
On the street side,
Yeah.
it does go there.
But not on Sherman Green.
Not on the Sherman Green itself. Correct.
Good.
What's the deal with the tree though?
It's gonna have pink lights, but there's not gonna be any signage.
And it'll be their lights. They put the lights.
They put them up.
Yeah, we don't do anything. With
Yeah,
Okay.
which is fine. You know, so the issue with the tree, hopefully, is the signage.
Yeah.
Not the light. Okay. And 12 to 9. Is it typically 9 hours?
It is.
What day of the week is?
I don't recall that.
Normally a Friday, but let me just check. Apologize. Friday the 27th.
Any questions?
Ryan, can I make a comment/request?
Of course.
Is there, Anthony, I don't know if you can answer this, but is there an opportunity to potentially have these banners and globes that they do downtown brought over to the new lampposts that were just installed in the Stratfield section of town?
I can ask if to make that part of it.
Okay.
That's what you'd want to do to make that part of it, right?
Well, yeah, I think we want to stay consistent with the downtown area, and so yeah.
I could request that.
That's a good idea.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Bill? Okay. Any further discussion from the public? Back to the commission. All those in favor? Dylan?
Yes.
All right. Bill? Yeah. Next up, request from Allie Bartlett and Aaron Biggins on behalf of Fairfield Mombies to hold a Mother's Day 5K Jennings Beach, Saturday, May 11th, 2024, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. to raise funds for metastatic breast cancer research via the Cancer Couch.
Hi, I'm Allie Bartlett, 808 Riverside Drive, and I'm here on behalf of the Fairfield Mombies. We are looking to have a 5K at Jennings Beach on that date in celebration of Mother's Day, where we will have a family walk along with a timed 5K race, and any proceeds that we raise will go to the Cancer Couch Foundation, which is based right here in Fairfield.
Okay, two questions.
Yes.
or just not necessarily questions, but tell me a little bit more about Fairfield Mombies.
Yes. So we are a group of moms from all over town who just started a Halloween flash mob where we dance on Halloween, and we started back in 2016, and we've been going strong since then. And just this past Halloween, we had a really great season where we raised over $300,000 for the Cancer Couch. So we hit a real viral social media moment, and we would like to harness that excitement and that energy and see if we can work even harder and throughout the year more than just make Halloween our season. We'd like to tie in Mother's Day with it as well.
How many members are there?
There are about 50 of us.
50. And tell us a little bit about the Cancer Couch.
Sure. The Cancer Couch was founded by Rebecca Scalera, who is a Fairfield mom who has since lost her battle with her diagnosis of metastatic breast cancer. And the diagnosis was never a good one, and what was prognosis was never good. So she decided to put her knowledge as a doctor into fundraising, and so far the Cancer Couch, which is her foundation, is going strong still, and we have a relationship with the Cancer Couch, and the Cancer Couch has relationships with both Dana-Farber and Memorial Sloan Kettering, so any dollars that we raise are then matched to Memorial Sloan Kettering. So we've been working with them for our, we started as just a flash mob to excite kids in October, and then realized we can really do something with that. And we decided to make it our mission to work on cancer, raising money for cancer.
Anthony, the date?
Date work?
Okay. Are you requesting a rain date, or are you just going to do rain
We
or
are
shine?
going for rain or shine.
Bridget?
I love you guys.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you. Our founder, Terry Davis, is here too. Thank you for having us. Thank you.
First question is, how do I get in? Second question is, will the Mombies be there? Like, are you going to do a performance?
We are deep in planning phases right now. We're going to keep some things to ourselves,
Okay.
but we will be there in full force.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah, we're really hoping to make this a really fun and engaging family event for the town of Fairfield, people around town, and hopefully be able to do this every year.
That's great. If you need any volunteers, I'm happy to help with
Okay.
water stations, whatever you need, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you looking at this being anything more than a walk and a run? Like, is there, I mean, you're talking about this being a family
Right.
event, so that sounds like more, but is it?
We are, we've just met with one race coordinator. We're talking to Marty, who runs the B25K, who manages Colony Race. So we're really trying to figure out exactly what our plan is from post-race. So we would love it to be a little DJ time, some music, maybe see if we can get some food trucks or some kind of entertainment for kids maybe after.
Is that the kind of thing that would have to come back to us?
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you want to expand with
Sure.
food trucks and, other things.
Yes. So,
That's why I was
Yeah,
asking.
Yeah,
Sure,
thank you, good point, because normally, if that was decided,
Yeah.
that would be part of the request. But,
Okay.
This will allow you to lock in the date.
Yes.
But then if you want to come back and expand on simply the race.
Absolutely.
you'd have to
Okay,
do
great. Thank you. Will do.
that. Thanks, Jeff. Any other questions? Dylan, anything?
I thought I read in the notes that is there a race coordinator for the 5K?
Yes,
Who's going to be actually setting it up?
We're talking to two different companies right now, from one based right here in Fairfield who knows the route, works with the police. He puts on races all over. And then we're also talking to another company that is based in Boston that does races all over the country, all over the East Coast, rather. So
Okay,
we
but-
will be working with someone.
Okay, and
Okay.
remember that
And the reason,
working with the local police.
Yes.
And, okay.
Yep,
I'm
absolutely.
sorry, Dylan, I cut you off there.
no, that's okay. I mean, the reason I'm asking is I just, Bridget and I did the 5K Buddy last year, and, there's lots of trash from an event like this. So I just want to make sure that whatever the course is, it's going to be returned to the town in the same shape in which it was given. That was the only reason why I was asking about a coordinator.
Yes, absolutely. And our Mommies group is, like I said, 50, and we're all on board to do everything that we need to do to make this successful and leave the town as beautiful as we find it.
Sounds like you're 51 already.
51.
All right, Amy.
Just a question, because on your application, you do have a check mark for food.
Yes, because we are, this is our first time putting on a 5K, which is where we're planning on working with someone. So we were everything from just post-race bananas and water, as you typically see at things like the turkey trot, to looking into other options.
Okay. I only asked related to if you do expand it.
Yes.
So what we're approving related to food is like typical after race food. Like
Yes. At this point, that's what we are going to go for. And if we have the opportunity with our funding, sponsorship, however we go from there, if we can expand into something a little bit more in terms of food trucks or anything else, we will certainly communicate and get approval from you as well.
Okay, good. Anything else? Anyone want to make a motion? Amy, thank you.
like a mommy.
I'll second.
I don't need that, but we use that helps us, so you sure can.
Any further discussion?
Second?
So we got a second.
Oh,
Thank you. Anything further? Questions? Comments? From the public? Back to the commission. All those in favor? Dylan?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And do please come back once you make further plans for
Absolutely.
food trucks or
Yes.
bands or whatever it is.
Will do. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay. Next up, Casimir Sikora, on behalf of Fairfield National Little League, construct 2 additional batting cages at Melville.
Yeah, Casimir Sikora, 85 Four Seasons Road in Fairfield, Connecticut. Before I get started, I just want to thank the Commission for the opportunity to present the proposal, and thank you for your service to town of Fairfield. In front of you, you have a few CASOs and drawings for the proposal. The first one at Melville Park is in the center field area between Mel 1 and Mel 2. That is our preferred area to put the cage, given that there is already a fence structure there that we could take advantage of. It would be approximately 218 feet away from the back end of the home plate of Mel 2.
Can I interrupt you?
They don't have that one in front of them.
They don't have that one.
Yeah, that's not an option.
I'm looking at a picture of the park.
Okay.
Which one are you referring to as, one has infield grass, one does not? What are you referring to as Mel 1 and Mel 2?
Mel 1 has the grass and Mel 2 does not.
Okay, so Mel 1 is going closer to Melville Drive.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, continue.
So then the Mel 2, the option, as you see it, is drawings. The proposal is for a cage that is 75 feet long, roughly 18 feet wide, and 12 feet high. Resembles what is already cages that are at Owen Fish and at Tungus Hill Park currently. This cage would be provided and be used by both Little League, boys, Little League and softball, and girls softball. Ward currently plays at that field as well. There's very limited number of cages throughout the town, specifically for girls softball. I believe UPL Field has one that probably needs some repairs as well, but this would be a cage that would benefit a large number of the children's population in the town of Fairfield. These fields also do not allow kids from ages 12 and over to use the field. do batting. We have a lot of people in softball and baseball that are older than that, and this would be for their use as well. So the children population from the ages of 5 to 18 is pretty significant here in the town of Fairfield. This also already has a fence structure in place. It wouldn't obstruct the field of play if there's already a fence there in foul territory that is roughly 19 feet away from that foul area. So that fence, the cage, one side of the cage would be equivalent to that. The one issue that, that might come up is the wetlands. There is a creek that is right near the cage on one side. Roughly 15 feet is the widest area from the cage to the creek, to the shortest area of 9 feet. In the middle there is, there is some erosion already at the creek area, and there's a bit of some brush between the cage and the creek, but there's also plenty of walking space to get around that cage. One other thing that I would point out to the commission is that there is a sewer drain that is 35 feet at the back end, but also at the front end coming down the hill at Mel 2, there's another sewer drain access, and I'm not sure where that drain goes, if it cuts across or would it cross underneath that for in case something happens. It would have to be, piping would have to be removed or whatsoever, but I just wanted to bring that to the commission. So that's that one. There's also option number, I would say 2, which is to place a double dugout instead of just a long 75-foot dugout, but a side-to-side structure in front of the bathrooms and near Mel 1 on the top of the hill there. And that would be closer to the street. It would be roughly 53 feet away from the street, the curb on the street. It would be roughly 55 feet long or deep and 36 feet wide, so that there would be 2 cages of roughly 18 feet wide. And it would be that 55 feet would leave about a 5-foot space away from that fencing that is adjacent to the properties that butt up against the Mel 1 property there. In addition, there is a Bilko hatch type of a structure that is roughly 3 feet away from the right side of or what would be the structure, and that structure, that side would be roughly 41 feet away from the bathrooms. There is a structure there that have men's and women's bathrooms. And there is a water access that's roughly 2 feet away from the front. But there is room to move this cage from side to side. I know that in the past there has been some complaints by the residents of the neighborhood at the field. We would, as Little League, offer to also, we are actually going to pay for this. We're not asking the town to pay for this structure. We would pay for this structure. We would likely offer up putting in some kind of a blind, if you will, or some trees to block the viewing of the cage from the residents that live along the street there.
Okay. Just define for me a dugout cage.
Sorry.
Is it, no.
A batting cage, sorry. I said dugout cage, but it's a batting cage.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and when it first came up, I'm assuming we were talking about a batting cage, but we keep referring to it as dugout cage. So is this a fence just for the dugout? All right. Thank you. Batting cage.
Batting cage. Sorry. And there's a picture in there, I believe, of the structure from Duncan Hill.
That I don't see.
Yeah, I don't see that either.
Okay. So at Melville, when you say to construct two additional, or maybe this was our wording, two additional batting cages at Melville, that's two additional batting cages for the town of Fairfield at Melville. There's nothing at Melville now.
Correct.
No batting cages. Okay. And so the batting cages, if there's a, typically these things, you know, we put them on, now they become property of town of Fairfield, and essentially it's first come, first served. So the National is not claiming permanent ownership, exclusive ownership. So if there's a game going on, someone's not using it and someone else comes in, that's acceptable with you.
That is acceptable.
Okay.
It's currently the case that happens at us as well.
Okay. Jamie?
Are there, maybe for Anthony, are there certain town safety standards,
Yeah.
building standards,
Yeah.
all of that?
100%. They have to go through the building department and, potentially in this case, conservation, and planning and zoning, just to make sure that we're not in the wetlands. If we have to go through engineering, because again, I don't know where those sewer lines run, those drain lines run as well. I'm in favor of the one on Mel 2 along that back line. I think that's the best spot for it. I hope it works out there and everybody agrees, but that's the furthest away from neighbors. The other proposed location in front of the bathrooms, while I like it, the neighbors are going to go nuts. Yeah, and maybe there's another spot along that outfield like we were talking, but maybe further out into the outfield of Mel 2. Like in the back corner, but again, I know that's not great for proximity if you're planning on Mel 1. But those are just my initial thoughts. But again, they'd have to work with planning and zoning and then our department to make sure we're in the right location.
Yeah, Mel 1, their base side is the closest location to the homes there. So, yeah, I kind of agree with you on that one.
That's also a place where a lot of people watch games from. So you'd be basically removing viewing areas from parents.
Now, is there precedent?
It would be in the back of the viewing area. It'd be on the other side of the street, the area where the access road, Dylan, it's on the other side of that access road.
Yeah, I know the access road.
Is there precedent to contact immediate neighbors when you have something, right there?
Through planning and zoning, there are, depending on the level of approval they require. So in some cases, yes. Some cases, no. No, that's a very clear answer for you.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, if you contact any of these neighbors, the answer is going to be no. But, that's their right to come out and speak at a public meeting like this. Planning and zoning also has their meeting. They have the right to go out and speak against the project or for the project.
Okay.
But again, that's why I would lean more towards the third base side of Mel 2, or maybe even potentially the outfield area of Mel 2, again, depending on how far we are from home plate there. But
is there room in the outfield of Mel 2?
There might be. Again, I'd have to measure that myself. I think it's pretty deep, but
I think there'd be plenty of room in center field.
Well, I get that there's
the right field currently is only 185.
Right, that's what I'm afraid of. So when you have coach pitch there, it's great. Or kid pitch is even the young kid pitch is fine. But when high school is playing JV there, that's really a no-go.
And Mel 1 is fenced?
Yeah.
There's an outfield fence?
Yes.
Oh, this is a 60-90?
Okay. And
No.
I'm looking at the picture. I'm not.
The high school softball plays in the backfield.
Oh, okay, softball, yeah.
They play in the backfield?
They play on the softball.
Okay, dirt field. Okay. That the that you mentioned, the bathroom facility, is that the building on the opposite side of the access?
Yes.
From Mel 1?
Correct.
Okay. So it would be, the Mel 1 proposal is on the Melville Drive side of the bathroom facility?
Correct.
Yeah, because on the other side is actually the playground. There's not much room there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that is. very close.
Okay, that's like an old.
Everything. Bill and then Jamie?
Yeah, I guess if you're looking to put it in the outfield though, I mean, there's a softball game going on, you got kids going through their games. To me, that might be an issue with that, or, you know, and then who's gonna maintain it? Would you guys still maintaining the town owns it? And it will still be maintained, right?
Similar to what we do
Up country.
Maybe you start with one, you know, you just drop this down to, you try to put one on the third base side and see how that goes first. I just don't see how you fit the second one.
Is there access, if you consider the outfield of Mill 2, is there access to that location beyond the fence in right field of Mill 1?
No.
The picture I'm looking at is all,
No.
You'd have to go through the field. There's
Yeah.
a little fence opening right there. You'd have to go through the down one.
Yeah, you'd have to go through the playing
Okay.
field to get
And
there.
considering it's only 185 feet, as you pointed out, that's probably not a great idea.
No.
In case there's a softball game going on. That's- Jamie, you have a question?
It was the same kind of question, just in terms of the seasonal maintenance on that, the netting, you know, the L screens.
Yeah,
things like
currently
that.
we do that for, and we even maintain the one at Owen Fish right now that nobody does, that the town owns, that nobody plays at.
Yeah.
Question?
Sure.
Because I coached through Fairfield National, I know the field, is this more for the older kids playing on Mel 1?
No, it's for both, for everybody.
So if you have kids over Mel 1, you're a coach. You can have a coach, you know, this one seems far distant. You know, if you're having practice on one field and you have batting cage way over there, that's all, you know, keep track of kids.
It's trying to provide the opportunity for all the kids. I mean, right now, if you think about it, a lot of our work goes into TUNCSIS, and that's maybe our majors, groups, and stuff like that. And we just made that a whole fully functional batting area, is to provide for some of the younger kids and giving them the opportunity. So you can run a different practice. You can have a batting practice going on while there's another practice going on the field, so you can run multiple practices. Because fields are so tight here in this town. So by having that cage, it provides another opportunity for all the players.
Is there one at Fairfield Woods?
No, it's not in the woods. If it's a school property, you'd have to go through the school, the Board of Ed, in order to put something on that facility. Plus, it serves as a dual soccer field, so that takes up a lot of the room.
But I know years ago, National put one up at Ward, right where the football field was. Right.
That got taken down.
Yeah, that got taken down when they redid the field.
Right, so there is
I know
one,
there's
there's the
precedent in
structures
place.
at Ward right now, but they take the nets down off-season, so there is not there. And there is they don't leave any equipment in there during the season, for anybody else to use. It's bare bones, basically. They don't even have L-screens in there.
I'm just saying, you might want to look at Wood to the right, where the first base side.
Then we might have to deal with the families there then, because there is
Yeah.
it's no different if you go there versus then Melville on Mel 1 side, because you're gonna be just as close to the residents on that side.
That's
But-
next year, Bill.
I mean, we would love to put one on each of the fields, if we can. I just don't know if there's a lot of room on that right field side, and anything else is gonna infringe on the soccer fields and the baseball field at Fairfield Woods.
Fairfield Woods would be a much better spot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Fairfield Woods has a decent amount of
Yeah.
space.
The third base
Um,
side for sure.
And I would just, that'd be Parks and Rec, not Board of Ed, that's all theirs, ours, whichever.
There'd be a lot of trees to knock down. There's a lot of trees in
There's some trees.
that area.
They come down by themselves a
I
lot.
thought they were on the other side of the fence, though. Because there's fencing along there for all those people's backyards. Are most of the trees on the other side?
Trees on the first base side
Right, first base.
are on the neighborhood side.
Right,
Third base side, they're on the
right.
school property side.
Yeah. But my question is that if there's a motion made tonight to approve, is that just enabling the process to move forward? Or does that have to be very specific to location and everything?
I think the motion, because the request is for 2 batting cages. So if we were going to be someone was going to be making a motion, we wanted to be, if the motion is to approve both as presented, that's simple. If give me a moment, please. If we want to make a motion for the one near Mill 2, then we just need to be very specific in the motion as to what we're requesting approval for. That then sets the formal motion. It's not a full approval to begin construction tomorrow, because we'll have to go through planning and zoning, and depending upon which one we approve, if we have to get conservation.
So we can't do a motion of approving whether it's 1 or 2 at sites to be determined in conjunction with Parks and Rec officials? We can't do a motion like that? Pardon my ignorance on this.
I think that's a little bit too vague.
Just because Anthony mentioned the need to go out and measure himself and things like that.
I don't think she's far off. I think if you were specific to Melville itself, Melville Park, as opposed to just working with Parks and Rec, kind of leaving it open-ended.
Right.
But if it was Melville Park, then at least it locks us into Melville Park. We could say, look, we held the public meeting, people came out, supported it, we discussed different opportunities and, where we were going to do it. And obviously, it's just, a lot of this is going to depend on, I believe, conservation and engineering as to where we could actually put it in Melville. Because Mel 2 is a detention area for the Rooster River. So, I mean, that's why that drain is there. That's going to be part of their issue. I know that.
So we could make a motion for example, 1 batting cage at Melville Park, just that, and then that leaves the working on the location.
Yeah. It's like to be, we do that for, memorial benches. We do that for a lot of things. It's like to be determined. Yes, that we can do.
I think we did something very similar with Sturgis when we put that batting cage in 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it had to do with the hill, and they weren't sure how much we were going to go with it.
Yeah. So I remember that.
We had a general idea of where it was going.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Dylan, any questions?
None for me.
All right. Would someone like to make a motion? Understanding if it's not for both, we want you to be pretty specific.
Brian, I'll make a motion.
Good.
Thank you, Dylan.
I'll second.
Wait, what's the motion?
Just making one.
Slow down. Dylan, what's the motion?
The motion is to approve the 2 cages as requested, 1 on the Mel 2, also third base side, and then Mel 1 on the hill, third base side.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. Any further discussion?
I guess I'd say I love the idea of the 2 batting cages. However, I wouldn't be ready, I think, to support the motion until staff's had a chance to look at it, unless someone tells me, no, that's not the case. But Anthony seems hesitant.
I'm definitely hesitant on that one on the hill. That's the one I'm hesitant on. But.
And I'm agreeing with that. I won't be supporting this motion because just looking at the pictures, I just don't think 2 batting cages can fit. I will give public an opportunity to speak once the commission is, because we have a motion on the table. So, anything?
If we approve this motion, does that decide that there's 2, or is there still a process?
Still a process.
To go through.
Because, the planning, zoning, and conservation still has to.
The question for us is whether we think it makes sense to put 2.
Whether we want to approach the other bodies to consider this.
I would agree with that then.
I'm sorry, it was with what?
Approving the 2, given the fact that we would have to approach other town bodies to see if there's a possibility of that second one being in the right location.
Okay.
Would other town bodies be able to say, we can't approve 2, but we can approve 1, or would it, for other town bodies, would it be 2 or a down vote?
Yes, they would, if 2 do not fit per their, when they do the review, they would come back to us and say, they could put 1 in this location, but we don't think that's gonna fit.
And this is honestly is probably a pretty easy review for me to send over to engineering and conservation, just to say, hey, this is what we're looking at. Any issues? What's the permitting needed? And they should be able to get back to me pretty quickly on that.
Would they take into consideration the location of this vis-a-vis the homes?
Depending on the structure, yeah. I'm gonna run it by planning and zoning as well, because if there's step back, I just don't know the regulations on what they're gonna consider the structure. And, I mean, the only other side of that too is, I don't know that it was specified what type of cages you guys wanted to put in, whether they were like enclosed like the one at Melville or at Tungus Hill now, or if it was more like the one at Doogie and Sturgis, where it's like temporary posts and netting go up, and then in the off-season they come down.
We were just talking about that, Nancy, based on what you're saying with zoning, it's like, is it a permanent structure, or is it one of those with the poles and we put the nets up and then take it down in the winter?
That's the only...
It's not a permanent structure.
Right. That might be an easier sell. Just, again, I didn't see it specified, but I mean, we could talk about that.
Yeah, we're open there.
I presented to our board at FNL, and I provided various different structures.
Okay.
One similar to Sturgis.
Yeah.
And then one similar to what that got.
Because I don't think the commission, really cares one way or the other what the type of structure is, just provided that the amenity is there. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, because I think as it relates to the neighbors, a temporary facility like the one at Sturgis, I think I would support that more than a permanent structure. But then again, I'm not, in my mind, I'm considering something with netting that you see through versus something, I don't know what a permanent structure would actually look like.
And that was really why I asked the question for. Do we need to be very specific, like we would support this 2 structures if they were, temporary one, but how specific do we have to get? I feel like we're a bit tentative, depending on what the solution is, that we would want to hear back what the recommendation is from the other town bodies before we would make a decision. Because if it can only be temporary, that makes a difference. If it's depending on the location, that could make a difference also for us. I'm not sure we have enough information.
Well, Jamie, I think, isn't that part of the process where, this is kind of step 1, and then they need to get approval from the other bodies. And if those other bodies come back and say, we're not approving this for reasons A, B, and C, then it's incumbent upon, FNLL to revise their request and come back through the process to us. Right?
Does that have to be in the motion? Or is that assumed?
No, I think it is
a given. It's a given that, it's got to be approved by the other body. I'm almost thinking that, the cart's before the horse.
Yeah.
That, maybe we ask them to review it.
Put a plan.
I mean, that's the other option, right? You can table this till next month. That gives me a month to work with these guys. Yeah, I don't need a month to work with you guys. Put it at the end of next week and get to those departments. And by the time we meet next month, we'll have answers from engineering, from conservation, saying, yes, we can go through the process. I mean, if that works for you guys.
I assume you don't have someone lined up to start construction tomorrow?
No.
I'm in favor for the table.
Yeah. I mean, we're all in for the functionality of it and the availability. It's just making sure it fits and...
Understood.
Yeah. And I think we may have spoken during the Rules Committee, Yeah, we're all members of the Parks and Recreation Commission, not planning, zoning, not conservation, not the HVAC. Yeah, we want to continue to, to expand our fields and, get more kids out there playing. So we definitely want to support things like that, but we also have to be aware of the proximity to the neighbors and operate within our town. So we do have a motion, and we have a second.
So they can withdraw if they'd like.
Yes, they can, but they haven't yet.
I'm going to keep the motion on the table.
Okay. We're going to continue, and I think, Bill, you seconded it. So, any further discussion?
Can I ask one other question?
Sure.
Is any part of this what's helping with the marketing of FNLO now that the National Committee has changed its rules? Because I know one thing we talked about, I think, at the last meeting was the need to be attractive to having our fields be in good shape because of the worry about losing our own players.
It wasn't, initially, this was kind of set in motion before that
But it
ruling.
becomes another tool in our
Yeah.
toolkit that's to make us attractive and to sell ours, whereas we've just done Tungus. Now we're not just focused on there, we're looking at other fields and other locations for the rest of our league and the town in general.
Just wondering.
Yep.
Anything more from the public? Back to the commission. All those in favor?
Well, there was no motion on the table.
No, he kept
No,
it.
he kept it.
Oh,
Yeah.
hero.
Dylan?
I'm a yes.
Jen, I'm not sure if you're...
Now I'm confused.
Okay.
Sorry.
We have a motion.
I thought you'd ask Bill if he'd withdrawn it because Dylan.
No, I just, Dylan said he wants to continue with the motion. I just looked at Bill, he was seconded, he said yes.
Gotcha. That's
So,
the part I missed.
The motion is to approve as requested, which we all know will then go to the other bodies. So I saw 3 hands. Dylan's a yes. You wasn't up, but then so all right. So I'm going to ask again. We'll start that over.
Sorry.
So all those in favor? Dylan?
I'm a yes.
All those opposed? Okay. The motion, the request has not been approved. Dylan, it's 4-3.
It has been
Actually,
approved.
no, it has been approved. I'm used to looking for 5. So, because 5 are a normal majority, but we only have 7 members.
Chris, me, Dylan, Bill.
Yeah, so we had 4.
So it passed.
So it has been approved. Okay. So I
I'll work
was
with
going
you
to
guys
suggest,
to figure it out. Yeah.
I was going to suggest coming back next month with this information, and I think that the 3 who voted against probably would have supported it, but it doesn't matter. It's approved.
Thank you.
Let me just take my notes.
Look at Woods too while you're looking. Might as well.
Chris, you said yes?
Yeah.
Bill, you said yes?
I also think there's greater distance.
Okay, so, congratulations, that's great, okay. Galen, Assistant Director, Parks and Rec, returning to provide more information regarding the request to raise the rates for field permits to be in line with the Board of Education field rates.
Yep, so I'm going to handle that one as well. You all should have received the call around January 24 with rates from surrounding towns and towns that participated in our survey. And you'll see that majority of the towns have rates that are higher than ours. Again, these are primarily charged to non-resident groups that are coming in, running camps, clinics, things of that nature. So yeah, that's the information. So again, we're looking to raise our rates from $75 an hour for a grass field to $100 an hour, and then from $100 an hour to $150 for the turf field. And that falls in line with our current Board of Education policies for their field rentals as well. So again, trying to get some consistency with field rentals.
So Anthony, last month, I think we got a little caught up in the weeds of how much it costs every time we go out and, prepare a field, and there's some question about the fact that the turf fields aren't prepared as the grass fields are. And I think we got a little bit off track, the big picture, as it relates to this price. Can you kind of walk us through more big picture cost? I know we haven't increased these fees since we put them in place 8 years ago. But I'm pretty sure that most other costs associated with our fields have increased in that amount of time.
Yeah, so it was about 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, that we started instituting a fee for people to use our fields. That includes all the youth groups that are currently using our fields, FYF, FYL, FUSA, Little Leagues, by way of paying for some of the maintenance and some larger projects like the batting cages you just heard about. And that fee was $25 per head. We're not asking to change that fee for our resident groups. But we did set the fees back then as $75 an hour for grass fields, $100 an hour for the turf field. Our field maintenance roughly costs us $850,000 a year. That's an outsourced contracted fee that we have for our athletic fields only. I'm not even talking about mowing islands and town buildings and things of that nature, or the Board of Ed side of things, keeping those buildings in shape. The revenue side of things, we only bring in about $275,000. So we're still only offsetting a fraction, maybe a fourth, roughly, of a third of our current expenses. So raising this, $25 to hit these non-resident groups that are making money on our fields, because again, these are groups coming in and running camps and paying, charging kids, $150, $250 a week to come to soccer camp, to come to baseball camp for half a day, or lacrosse camp, whatever it is. I don't think is a huge added expense to them, and nor do I think by raising it, the $25 and $50 for the turf field, do I think it's going to, continue to close the gap on our expenses? It will help, but I don't ever foresee us saying, hey, we're going to recapture 100% of our field maintenance. It's just not a realistic goal. So that's the 30,000-foot view.
Thank you.
Anthony, can I ask for one point of clarification? So I'm looking on this document, grass fields, turf fields, Fairfield residents, $25 per hour. Should that be per participant?
Definitely should be per participant per season, that $25 that you're talking about.
Right. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Yeah. I wanted to clarify that. Thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions? Galen, I think you've done a nice.
Hello? Hello? Can you all hear me?
But, across the board, whether it was, weight room and lacrosse or, future soccer or whatever, was, you want a blanket permit, that it has, comply with federal people. Right. So back to the commission. We have a motion to accept the fee increase. Seconded. All those in favor? Dylan?
Yes.
Okay. Then it's been approved. All right. Next up, request from Ed Lee on behalf of the Connecticut Fury Basket Softball League. We currently recognize as a group that consists of 100% residents and would be eligible for a blanket permit. Ed? Okay, just before you start, the next three requests are very similar. So some of the things that we're going to say to Ed will probably be saying to Glenn and to Max as well. So just as it relates to rosters, and we're going to watch, and we're proceed, and then we'll discuss.
Okay. So my address is 459 Romanok Road, R.O.
Hey, Dylan, you want to mute?
I heard the motorcycle and I put myself on. Sorry about that.
All right. So thanks to the commission for all of your hard work and your dedication, and thanks for giving us today. So just by way of brief background, so we are a 501c3 not-for-profit based here in Fairfield, Connecticut. For the 2023-2024 season, we currently have 6 teams, ranging in age from 9 years old.
8.
Oh, 8 years old.
No, we have 8-year-olds on the 9.
Oh, there we go. 8-year-olds on the 9U team, all the way up to 14-year-old girls playing on the 14U team. Our 6 teams are all coached by Fairfield parents. We are all also currently or have previously been board members for Fairfield Little League Girls Softball as well. And we're trying to keep the official recognition status. On that point, I'm going to refer to Ellen. She's been kind of spearheading this effort on her part.
This does come with, this request comes with an exception. We would like to be considered recognized under the same guidelines as adult softball. We are, like Ed said, we are a nonprofit. We charge what we believe is a very low fee for the travel world of baseball and softball. Our yearly fee is less than what other travel organizations in town charge for just a spring season. We keep our costs, we try our best to keep our costs low and make it very economical for parents, and also give girls who might not financially be able to join our organization, make it flexible for them to be able to still stay a part of our organization and all that finances. And so with that in mind, $100 an hour just to use the field does not work under our budgetary constraints. So in line with the Adult Softball League, we would be looking to pay $25 per resident per season, standard fee, and $150 per non-resident. We would have all of our teams at 3 non-residents, of which we are currently well under of our 70 players. Right now, we only have 4.
Right.
We only have 4, puts us about a 95% rate of residency of residents. As I mentioned earlier, this is not what we recognize in the town, but there are 7 other towns, municipalities nearby that would still recognize our organization as a resident organization, even given our 5% non-resident number. We'd also be asking, or we would also be willing to pay any lining of fields for games. Our overall game play is really minimal compared to our schedules. The travel softball will, the majority of the time, is on weekends at away tournaments. So we practice more in town. We do have friendlies. We do like to schedule friendlies. But that's not really the bulk of our field use. The bulk of our field use lies in practice. We would be looking to make this request for the 2024 year.
To Kelly, on the agenda, it specifically says to be formally recognized as a group that consists of 100% residents and will be eligible for the blanket permit.
And when I spoke to Ed Lee, he confirmed that. When I read to him what was on the agenda, and he confirmed 100% residents.
Okay.
When I spoke to him.
So what is being requested is to be formally recognized as an organization with 100%. The process to be recognized here tonight, again, this will apply to Glenn and Max, is a very objective process. If you are 100% resident, then we will recognize you, and we'll recognize you for purposes of getting a blanket permit. The other request is not on our agenda. Personally, I'm not going to support that. I'm just a single commissioner on the commission, so everyone else has the ability to vote on your behalf if they want to support it, but to modify the request to even consider what you're suggesting, we're going to need a motion to amend our agenda to recognize that, which then requires 2/3 of the vote of the members to even consider. And by virtue of what you're telling us, the 95% rule puts us in a position where we're not even going to address the request that is on the agenda, because you've already told us that you're not going to comply with that. So I will leave it up to my fellow commissioners if anyone wants to make a motion to consider the exception and the amendment to the agenda item.
Brian, I'll make a motion. But I think I heard Ellen say this. I would say the motion would be for everybody that's a resident to pay $25, and then the out-of-towners pay $150. I think they should come back on a yearly basis to make that request, with the understanding that this isn't going to grow into a situation where now there are 15 out-of-towners, right? I mean, maybe that's a question I should ask the Fury. I mean, what are the plans with respect to out-of-towners moving forward?
Dylan, if you would, make the motion, and then we can discuss it afterwards.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to revise the agenda to include the exception request from Fury.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, Dylan, unfortunately there's not a second, so that motion, we won't be addressing that. And unless, Ed, you want to tell us and commit to us 100% residency, we're going to not address your request.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I guess the question is, does it need to be specific to the organization as a whole, or do we get approval and have it be applied to the teams that are 100% Fairfield as a team?
So you're saying, you're asking, does it have to be Connecticut Fury, or can it be the, Team A, B, and D of the Connecticut Fury?
As a potential option, yes.
No, it's gotta be Connecticut Fury, the organization.
So if we were to eliminate our 4 players, and no longer have them be official players on the roster for our team, would that be sufficient in meeting the requirements? Or
Why don't you consider that as your option? And if you want to come back to us, we're very willing to listen to your request next month. If you want us to consider that and you want to commit to that, we can vote on it. But I guess I'm suggesting, why don't you consider it as an organization, and we'd be happy to, as I said, it's an objective. If you're 100%, we will recognize you. You get a blanket permit. So it's not a major decision for the commission.
Okay.
So therefore, and I don't know if you're, taking membership between January and February, or, so if you want to come back in February after you consider it, that would be my recommendation, but I'm happy to.
Okay.
Can I just ask the question? So how do we get on the next agenda with a purposeful request with an exception, similar to, I guess, how St. Thomas came across last year with their 50% nonprofit request? I mean, I guess when Ed/we as an organization made the request, it seemed that the only way we could get on the agenda was if we said we're 100% resident. So I guess the question is, how do we phrase the next request so that we get on the agenda?
Well, you have to phrase it so that we understand what you're requesting. And what we understood that you were requesting today was to be recognized as an organization with 100% residents. It wasn't a request for an exception with 95. That wasn't what was on the agenda. That wasn't what the request is. So, if you can,
I think that's where there was just like some confusion, because it didn't seem like we had another choice as to
you can always
asking.
ask us.
I thought we did that. I thought that was what happened. So, yes, we will need to go back to the drawing board.
We'll take it back to the drawing board.
Okay. And then, Kelly puts together agenda. We review the agenda in advance, so it's posted. So I'm happy to work with you if you want to come back.
Yep, we will.
If you come back with a really, really well scripted agenda item and request, doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to support it, but we're happy to discuss.
Okay.
So I'm going to move on to the next item. Request from Glenn Katz on behalf of the Fairfield Falcons baseball program to be formally recognized as a group that consists of 100% residents and would be eligible for blanket permit.
Yeah, thank you for your time. My name is Glenn Katz. I reside at 327 North Benson Road, Fairfield, Connecticut. The Fairfield Falcons travel organization, we got together with Fairfield American Little League with the idea to provide children in the Fairfield community a local option to play travel ball. Up until the idea came about, there was no option. So the Fairfield Falcons organization currently has 5 teams going into the spring, and we are 100% residents, and our plan is to always stay that way and work directly with Fairfield American Little League to provide the children in the community a local option for more baseball and opportunities to play and develop. So we are 100% residents, happy to work with BLM to review our rosters, to make sure we stay in compliance for as long as we exist. And we're seeking a blanket permit so the children have a place to play in the spring.
And the age of your players, are they in line with the Little League?
Yeah,
or?
they're in line with Little League.
Okay, so it doesn't go beyond the Little League?
It doesn't go beyond. And it's a good question. Right now, we have 8s, 9s, and 11s. We have a feeling as our children stay in our program, they're eventually going to age up to 13, and our goal would to, if they're happy, to continue. Is there another blanket permit that you seek for 13 and up, or is it stay under the same, if they're residents, it's just another team that levels up? I want to make sure I do the right thing.
No, if you're 100%.
Yeah, we would be 100%.
Under the organization of the Fairfield Falcons baseball program.
Yeah, and they're all residents.
You know, if you added, if the 9s became 10s.
Yeah. So eventually our goal is to have the 12s, if they're happy, stay.
Yeah, I mean, if the 12s become 13s and you need a Babe Ruth-sized field, then it's a different field, but.
And our hope is to obtain fields when they're available. We understand there's pressure, but we work together as best we can. And, look forward to the spring if we're approved.
Any questions?
Yeah, I guess the same thing, I guess, at least the national, you're bringing in another team, another league, is there enough field space? Little League, you have a certain schedule, you play, 12, 15, 18 games, whatever it is. Is there enough space to add another team that can probably play full schedule as well, I would imagine?
It's a great question. Guess we're going to find out if you approve it. I honestly, all I hear about is we don't have fields. So adding another group or two should be interesting.
Well.
Yeah, I guess honestly, it just comes down to how well Glenn plays with, in this case, Fairfield American.
Yeah, we work very closely. So, for example, the travel programs eliminate conflicts with the Little League because they can't play at the same time because the children are in the same teams. So we work directly with Fairfield American to get an idea of what's available, and we take advantage of those fields with Gail's approval. And if not, we have to make do. But we would like to try to fill in the spots that are open, for the teams to play. I'm confident that we can find time. A lot of times, the games we play in a league that allows us to play a lot of away games, so we make it work. I have a sports complex, use some backs and doors we don't on the field, so we make it work for the good of the kids.
So let me understand. So the players who are on the Falcons, are they potentially also participating in Little League?
They have to play Fairfield American Little League to play in the Falcons. We don't want to cannibalize Little League programs.
Okay, and they play the same time of year?
Same time of year, different game times. That's how the travel baseball kind of coexists.
Do you integrate the pitch count on
it's followed very closely. There's league rules. Little League, pitch count, and travel.
So you can't reach your pitch count in Little League and then pitch again. And
they put that's a travel and a Little League rule that we have to follow very closely.
Okay.
So back when I was coaching during the summer in Fairfield American years ago, we tried to institute a spring league for the more advanced kids.
Yeah.
It kind of fell on deaf ears, and it's my understanding now that we're no longer involved in that. It finally got approved. So some of the better kids that would typically play on the summer teams, whether tournament or district, on Fairfield American are going to be playing in the spring. So it's kind of, you guys cannibalizing from that. How's that going to compete? Because now there's teams that didn't exist in the spring, travel teams, they'll be looking for field space, and that was always a huge issue.
For when the districts start?
No, before. So it's like, you're talking March through end of April, competitive spring travel team for each age group.
Yeah.
And then you go into the Little League where you have to play 75% of your games in order to play in the summer for district and for tournament.
Yeah.
Now you've got a third team. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry, let me just weigh in here. So the program that Glenn is talking about right now is almost exactly the same as the one that we're going to hear next from Max Catapano. And, the Fairfield Nationals are involved with Fairfield National Little League. It doesn't cannibalize everything. It doesn't impact the ability for kids who want to play. In fact, I think it enhances that, you know, I mean, which is why, you know, there's been so much success with Fairfield National Little League teams in the summer program. So I don't really think that there would be an issue with, you know, development of players or people being left out or even conflicts between Little League games and travel games.
Okay.
I think also, I mean, having spent probably about 8 years with Fairfield American, this is a huge benefit to our parents also, where in the past a kid would be playing Little League and they would be playing travel baseball, and they would go off and they would pitch, and the kids would come back and say they didn't pitch, and then some parents would want their kids to pitch more, and they would say, no, he didn't pitch, and then you suddenly find out the kid threw 200 pitches in a weekend. And also in terms of scheduling, I mean, the fact that you're aligned with Fairfield American, that you're sharing teams, there's not going to be a conflict with summer, because these are the kids on your travel program are most of the kids that are going to be feeding into those teams and that's during the summer. And you'll probably also be playing some games out of Fairfield, right, at Travel League.
Yes,
so your field space requirements aren't going to be as much. And I think, Fairfield American by itself survived with almost 1,000 kids at their peak. And what are we now? What are they now? 600? I mean, a lot less. So, I mean, there was a time when we had so many more kids and we survived. So the fact that they're cohesive, I think, will really help this to be managed and bring a benefit.
I totally agree. And as it relates to field space, and the organization being recognized, that field space is not a relevant factor. If they're going to comply with 100%, they can be recognized by it. And it's a very straightforward request. Then these guys in the office have to deal with it, with the field. And, you know, hopefully we'll be able to fit you in somewhere, but, you know, from a recognition point of view, what's in front of us today, you know, that's the 100% residency goal.
Brian, I'll make a motion if we're at that point in the meeting.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the request as stated on the agenda for the Fairfield Falcons to be formally recognized, given that they're 100% residents.
All right.
I'll second that.
Second. Any further discussion? Public? Hearing none. All those in favor? Dylan?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. And then request from Max Catapano, similar, but for Fairfield National Baseball Program.
Yes, hi. Thanks for your time. My name is Max Catapano. I live at 181 Melvin Street in Milford. Much like Glenn, a very similar program, just on the other side of town, Fairfield National side. And the only other difference is that my kids have graduated up. I do have 13, 14, and a 15-year-old team, but they are all 100% town residents. And I'm requesting blanket permits on that, 100%.
Any questions? Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve this one.
Bridget? Bill? All right.
I'll second.
We got, Bridget was, you made the motion and Bill
Yeah.
seconded. Thanks, Dylan. Bill already seconded.
All right, I'm just going to jump on my motorcycle.
Any further discussion? Anything from the public? Back to the commission. All those in favor? Dylan?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. You're all set. Okay. Jen, for that report.
Yeah, just two big things. The two items I keep bringing before, one item that I keep bringing back to, the whole racial balance at the state. They just heard grants up at the state, so we believe shortly on a Anything else to say about that? And the other major item on our agenda is we did the superintendent did bring the budget forward at a 5.5% increase for a total budget of just about $221 million. That's a hard number to say. And so the Board of Ed is in the process right now of going through it line by line, questioning. Next week will be when we make any budget adjustment amendments, if there are to be any. And after that, it goes on to be presented to the first selectman, and who will put together his budget and present it to the Board of Selectmen, exactly as Anthony described in his memo to the commission. So those are two issues that I thought would be of interest to the board, but happy to take any questions.
It would be to Lieutenant Greenwich, which always has a similarity to our current school. What was their request to the state?
Leave us alone. We can't do it.
Kind of similar to ours?
Something similar, very considerable difference is that they didn't go through what we just went through this whole past year with actually getting a consultant, trying to look into everything. My understanding is there was a degree of hostility and unhappiness on the part of the state, but the state hasn't done anything yet, but this is all very much in limbo. I believe someone told me this. I don't follow the State Board of Ed at this level of, I just don't. That there's going to be some turnover possibly in their members, so we don't know if that's why they've been delayed just because of terms being up. So I don't know if people are going to be re-upped or if they're going to have new members, and if that's the reason why it's taking so long to have us on their agenda, because obviously we voted back in October to send our resolution before them. So still in a waiting pattern, and so I don't have anything else to say on that topic.
Any other questions? All right, Director and Program reports.
Okay, everybody should have received a copy of it at their spot today. Sorry, Dylan, I don't think it was emailed to you. Today was our spring registration with everything in our brochure with the exception of camps. Camps aren't until February 22nd. We always do them separately because they sometimes cause our system to crash with the amount of people that go on. Didn't have any issues with registration this morning, surprisingly, with even the software updates that they implemented over the last couple of weeks that were kind of giving people some issues. Things went surprisingly smooth. The one thing to say about camp sites that are listed in the brochure is they're always subject to change. Again, it's based on Board of Education projects and HVAC and roofing projects, so sometimes when we advertise something, it may get changed last minute. But obviously, we work with central office as best we can to publicize that when it happens. Staff's been busy working on the summer schedule, putting together all the special events, summer concerts, sand jams, peanut butter jams, all different types of programs that you guys could possibly think of. Our Beach Bunny 5K is coming up, so hopefully you guys will all get an invitation to that shortly if you haven't already. And then, as Jen just mentioned, the big thing that we're doing right now is our budgets. We're prepping the budgets. I did meet with the first selectman to talk about our budget, so I will bring those budgets before the commission next month so you guys can see what we're doing. We're probably going to be right before he goes with his budgets, but we might have a week or two to potentially, if we needed to make a change on something that you guys wanted to, we can do that. But again, there weren't any big surprises in anything that I was bringing forward for a request, and there didn't seem to be any surprises on the other side of the table either with questions from the administration. But with the new administration, we are a little behind in the process at all. But, to be expected. It's how it was the last time we had an administration change as well. But yeah, once the first selectman releases his budget to the Board of Selectmen, they'll vote on it. And then typically the following month, it goes to the Board of Finance. They'll beat it up for a couple weeks. Then they vote on it, and then it ultimately goes to the RTM in April, and then they'll vote on it the first week of May. That's where we are. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Okay, so, Anthony, your office will reach out to get the next steps rolling on the batting cages.
Yep.
Approvals.
Yep.
And do you think you will have information about the Jennings gate for February?
Yeah. Yep. And I sent an email to the first selectman today requesting the funding. I gave him the final price of $30,000. Said, let me know how you want to fund this, and then we'll go forward. So. Yep, next month I can have all that information.
Okay, anyone has anything else for the good of the order?
Just a quick, question about the rules committee. Do we have anything, anything set for next month before our next meeting? Is there anything pressing?
Nope, the town attorney had requested to see all the changes that you guys have made so far before we present them to the commission.
Okay.
Former town attorney had already approved them, but the new town attorney would like to approve them as well. Galen sent it to me,
Okay.
and I forwarded it over to him, so
Oh.
it's with him right now.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Let me know. I'm happy to, schedule something.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dylan.
Thanks, everybody.